Merrill, welcome to today's webinar. Great, thanks very much. Great to be part of this. So just a very quick update or overview for you, everybody, of Mirella. She's actually got over 18 years experience and extensive knowledge across all aspects of human resource management in organisations. So she's been across recruitment, onboarding, learning and development, performance management, succession, technology, remuneration, industrial relations, everything. So we're very gained that experience working with national and global organisations, and she also has experience across a number of different disciplines as well, so those such as retail, hospitality and investment. She's also implemented technology on a number of occasions, experiences with us today. So welcome again, really, and I'm very excited about what we're going to cover off today. So what we've got today for everybody is, as you would have seen in your invitation, I'm going to talk a bit about how to create those raving fans of your hiring managers, and how Merrill and the team have done that in quite a great way. I love how they've actually done this. The hiring processes that reflect your culture, so how to actually get those correct things happening, and also how they've had some extensive reductions in cost and time to hire and increasing of quality. And candidates being productive from day one. So rather than driving, and get you to take us through all about City Beach, please. Yeah, great, we'd love to. Look, City Beach, you can see some of the dot points listed here, but City Beach has been around for about 32 years. And many of you on the call probably wouldn't know much about our business other than we are a First Gate Street and Modo retailer. We have been very fortunate in that we have two of our original owners 32 years ago actually saw a gap in the market and proceeded to open up their first store in Indooroopilly in 1985. They are very much entrepreneurs and made the most of all the opportunities that came their way to get us to where we are today. So we have 63 stores across the country. We have an online store and we have a distribution centre, and during our peak employ up to 5,000 team members. We still are to this day one of the most successful privately owned retailers in Australia, and we're very proud of that. And what we try to do, what we aim with our stores in particular, is to create very much, many of our stores have, whether it be skate ramps or in-store entertainment where we host DJs or bands. We also have celebrity appearances in our stores across the country. And as an organisation, for both our internal and external team members and candidates and also customers, it's all about promoting individual style. And you know, our catchphrase is "It's your life, live it," and it's very much reflected within our culture. It's making the most of things, being your authentic self, and moving things forward. So it's definitely a great place to work. For us within this industry, retail, you know, it is, and it does continue to be a competitive space. And City Beach recognises that there is a need to evolve in order to remain competitive, particularly if we look at you know, technology, being able to shop online. It reduces the number of customers that are actually going into our bricks and mortar stores. So over the last couple of years and moving forward, we've very much, as an organisation, embarked upon a period of transformation and change. And technology across the field is definitely the most common denominator. From a HR perspective, this represents significant shift, where in part there's many processes that we do and they are manual. So we're moving away from manual processes to automated systems, which I'd like to share the experience with you today. From our end as an organisation, we're quite excited because this is the start of our journey. We know that this is going to be a long-term journey, but ultimately what we're aiming to achieve is an end-to-end talent management suite which covers the entire life cycle of an employee. and I'll share part of what that looks like in phase 1, but certainly there's a lot more to come in the future, and we're certainly all very excited to get to that point. Fantastic. So this is where we're going to try something a little different to what we've ever done before. So as you see, there's an actual YouTube link on there. So let's see how we go with playing just an example of the culture. And what we wanted to do with our movement from a manual to an automated system, we really wanted to show our candidates through the PageUp recruitment system what it is all about to work for City Beach as an organisation. I think this very much depicts who we are and what we're about. So thanks, Penny. Wow. So if that doesn't make you want to work at City Beach, I don't know what will. So it was beautifully representative of your culture. Sorry, excuse me. Told you this is the first time we do that, so apologies everybody. Okay, so that's a great introduction. Thank you so much for that. So let's see what was required. Let's start from the very beginning of your journey. Yep, absolutely. Look, there was quite a, this was a number of years in the making to sort of get this across the line, because it represents change for the business. So a lot of time was spent putting together the business plan and really understanding what the benefits would be for the organisation, and also going through quite a comprehensive vendor analysis process. Fortunately for us, PageUp was selected to come on the journey with City Beach. And as mentioned, our objective is to implement the full talent management suite, and we recognise that PageUp has the capacity to deliver those modules that we require to achieve that goal. So our starting point really was the recruitment and onboarding module, which we are currently live and have been using for a period of time. And I suppose when I thought about how to sort of answer this question, I looked at why did we start here? You can obviously start with different modules. So if I look at City Beach, we were working with historical work, we do best practice. And there's a reason for that. Day-to-day life is busy in a HR department. You get caught up in operational requirements, and it's reacting to the needs of the business. Often very difficult to really have the time to actually stop and understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. By selecting phase 1 to be the recruitment and onboarding modules, it allowed us to actually doing more at our age demographic, given that we are a youth employer, and understand what type of recruitment and recruitment and attraction campaigns are going to resonate with the target audience that we're wanting to hire in our business. So we needed a few key things. Obviously, we needed the technology, which is the PageUp platform, that had the functionality that the business required for now, but also in the future. We needed something that was definitely easy to navigate, had a great look and feel, and didn't overload the end users or confuse the end users, given that technology within recruitment and onboarding was something very new to to the business at the so we understood that from a vendor perspective, PageUp definitely has and will continue to work with some really reputable brands both within the retail and other industries, and they were able to demonstrate to us that we wouldn't just be another sale, so another number that they ticked over to hit their targets, but we actually were treated as a customer who they wanted to work with and absolutely maximise the success of rolling out this recruitment and onboarding platform that was customised and aligned to what City Beach actually needed. What else was required? So I had people up here, and with people, what I mean there is a great team from both City Beach and also PageUp. I personally am very privileged to work with an amazing calibre of HR professionals who are definitely and truly dedicated to changing the status quo. They're eager to try new things that will make a difference for everyone. They're hardworking and really wanting to add value. And I am grateful every day for the amazing HR team that I have the pleasure to work with. Having the right people is absolutely critical from an internal perspective, because it does get very challenging at times. But also, looking at the people from the PageUp side as well. So we worked with a fabulous implementation team that definitely worked with us tirelessly, and I'm sure at different times very frustrated, to help prepare us for our go live. And we're agile and adaptable to allow the system to be customised to our requirements. And there was lots of starting and stopping in that, but that was critical for us because we wanted to make sure when we did go live that this was truly something that was going to work for the business, and we're very grateful for that. The third point that I have listed is the methodology, and this also relates to sort of the timeline. This is really important from my perspective, just given the background that I've had. Having a comprehensive methodology to guide us all through the milestones of the project is critical. From our end, the planning phase is definitely the most critical and in fact probably the most time-consuming. And from an internal City Beach perspective, this was important to allow us to understand how long each phase would take, what are the resources that were required, at what point did we need to bring subject matter experts into the project to help. So really, really critical to have a very thorough, well understood methodology to guide us through, what in many respects was something very new for the HR team. From heart rush and implementation, and you certainly can't blame the technology if you're not getting the required outcomes. As a customer, we actually drive what the system looks like. And I've seen, many companies that don't take the time to plan and design the new processes to set that up for success. And I can, proudly say that we definitely have done that at City Beach. The last point is process mapping. So this is the piece that I mentioned earlier, where it was the opportunity to actually stop and think about what we are currently doing and why we're doing it, whether we should be doing it, and can we improve upon what we're doing. So it was an opportunity to map out our current state processes for our recruitment workflows and then literally pull it apart. As I mentioned, questioning, the why, what, how. So this actually allowed for us to design a future state process for our recruitment within our stores, distribution centre, and at the same time incorporating what best practice looks like City Beach and our social media as an example to achieve the outcomes that we require. So this project was definitely not about replicating our manual process, but rather it was about transforming the recruitment and onboarding function within City Beach, definitely about adding value and making a difference by doing things as simply as we possibly could to achieve the outcomes that were required.
Fantastic. So you've actually got a fantastic example to show us of how you then brought all of this to life, having you mirror it. So let's actually take a look at that if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty excited to sort of share the successes of this particular case study, and it very much relates to our Christmas casual hire process. So this is our volume recruitment. It is seasonal, and during this we have to work in the business for an 8-week period to help during our peak period. In previous years, prior to PageUp being in the organisation, this, as you can imagine, was a manual process. Generally, we would start by advertising on Seek, and then we would have candidates who would also do sort of posters in store as well to try and attract our clients, our customers, to also apply. So we had CVs being handed in at stores, we had CVs being mailed into head office. And so as you can appreciate, you know, these are hard copy CVs generally that someone literally has to shift through, and a lot of the responsibility for the casual recruitment for casual recruitment City Beach falls to the stores, individual stores. So very time consuming, as a result quite often requiring additional resources to be rostered to help support the mere, you know, processing and reviewing of the CVs that were being submitted, and then obviously scheduling interviews, interviewing, and then going through the hire process. So very manual, very, very time consuming. From a head office perspective, we then had up to 2,000 new hires with all their banking details and all their personal information that we had to manually data enter into our payroll system. And again, requiring additional payroll to be rostered during those periods to actually get those people in the system so we could make sure that we actually pay them. There was, so it was obviously, you know, a very stressful period given that the business was gearing up to the busiest. So very challenging to try and fill all these roles, make sure that you've hit your quotas, that you've also trained them, that they've completed all their paperwork, and that they're then ready to go. Whilst you're trying to prepare your store for Christmas trade, increase your rostering requirements, take on additional, you know, stock that was coming into store, processing that stock, tagging it, etc. So quite a stressful period regardless, to then have a layer with the volume recruitment that was manual at that time.
You can imagine it's just it's a very stressful period for the stores and for your back office staff as well, having to go through everything in a manual process. So anything that you could do, I suppose, would have been met with open arms. And we're going to talk a bit about the open arms that you did get when you did get to that. But I can see why this was a key need for you and was probably the best step forward, or the first step forward.
Absolutely. Open arms, definitely, but also there was, you know, some resistance because it represented something completely new and different to the business. And we had to really live through a lot of it for our managers to actually understand the benefits that this actually brought to the business, which happily to say that did occur.
Well, before when we first started talking, I did my normal bit and went out and said, well, what's out there? What would have helped you through this process, apart from your extensive experience that we talked about earlier and the ability that you bring to City Beach with your experience in this in the past. But the research was telling us things like you need to make sure that whatever you're doing is engaging for the candidate, is easy for the hiring managers. Show it what it really is like to work at your organisation and connect with them at that level. And when I read that, I was going, this is exactly what City Beach did. You actually took each of those components and actually put them into play. So that's absolutely fantastic. So what we'll do now is we're actually going to see if the audience actually are feeling along similar lines. Are these some of the challenges and such that they've actually been seeing? So I'm going to kick off a poll for everybody. So that should come up in just a second. And this is actually a multi-choice poll. So you're actually able to select any one of these or all of them. And while that's happening, I might just answer one of the questions that's actually come through. And that was, would you recommend doing recruiting and onboarding at the same time? From our experience, absolutely. This allows us to create truly a seamless experience
experience from the candidate perspective, from the time that they've actually applied for a role with the organisation through to being hired, completing all their paperwork, receiving their training, etc. through the onboarding portal. It allows for a seamless and very professional experience for that candidate. It sets all parties up for success, I truly believe, both the candidate and also the store that they're going to, the management within that store, because they know what they'll be getting. So I definitely would recommend doing both at the same time. I think that's really important.
Fantastic. Well, that looks like everyone's had a chance to answer the poll there. So let's close that off and have a look at the actual results. And so what we've actually got is, and we'll see if this was surprising at all to you, we've got what we've got here. So 57%, which is the time to productivity. So I think that was a big one. You were saying that on day one, normally people would actually be held up with having to do their paperwork and actually then do their training and such. So day one really wasn't day one productive at all.
Yeah, no, that's right. And Penny, just to that point, time to productivity, particularly for volume recruitment when you know that they're being hired for a short period of time, is absolutely imperative. And when you're in a peak period, you need them to be up and running as quickly as you can. So that's critical. So no, that's good to see. Yeah. And I know that you're going to go into a little bit more detail around just how quick you've been able to make that happen for yourselves. And we've got commitment. So it sounds like everybody has actually got the same things that we've actually, the research and City Beach has actually gone through there. So that's fantastic. So thank you very much for that. So we'll close it off and let's have a look at what you actually did do. Yeah, great. So this was, again, working with my fabulous team. We really sort of stopped and we took the time to understand what we've done previously, and we took the time to actually do some data analysis as well based on past practice. So we did a variety of things. So from a data analysis perspective, we actually Christmas ads per store and per region in the previous 2 years. We looked at how many hours are actually rostered to work, and we compare that to our existing casuals as opposed to the new casuals coming in being hired for a short period of time. Yeah. Obviously demotivating if that was occurring. Yeah. So we did a demographic review of the workforce to be able to pinpoint the target market that we were trying to attract for these roles. We also did things such as looking at the process looked like, and then breaking it down, making it simple. Why are we doing this? How are we doing this? How, can this be done better? And it was all about, as I said, making it as simple as we possibly could. We also spent time talking to key stakeholders, and there was a great deal of respect for historical practice, and it's important to take the time to understand why we did things in the past, because that has a lot of relevance to what you design in the future state for this particular campaign. It also provides the opportunity to get some buy-in from these key stakeholders who would be supporting a significant shift in what had been done in the past. So it is important to have their buy-in in the process. And that relates directly to our national and regional sales teams. From a change management perspective, it was about identifying the risks associated with rolling some of this out and planning as best we could on how to reduce or remove these risks. And that's obviously very important when you consider the communication strategy and also the training that's rolled out to support the success of this particular campaign. From an engagement perspective, we are a youth employer, and so it's all about how do we attract and select the best talent for City Beach for what is a short period of time. And for most of the people that we were attracting, we often are their first job, and a majority of these people are actually still at school. So importantly for us, it was all about, well, how do we actually represent what is actually required in a job versus the perception of what it is to work in a cool place such as City Beach. So we are, we have the benefit of having a really cool environment to work in, loud music. You can, wear what you want. We promote individual style. It's really casual. It's fun, but reality is also there's a lot of work that they're required to do as well. So one of the things I did want to show you today was another YouTube clip that we filmed, and it was all about day in the life as a Christmas casual. And we actually posted this on our career site when we first launched our vacancies. And it was really important. So if you were someone that was looking at this and interested in the Christmas casual job with City Beach, you were able to actually see what was required of you and really have to think about, is that actually what I want to be doing in a job or not? So there was definitely a lot more clarity of the expectations of joining our business during that period of time. So we're just going to try our technology again from this perspective.
So you're interested in becoming a Christmas casual at City Beach. Let's give you some more information about what it's like to work as a City Beach Christmas casual. Since our humble start in 1985, City Beach has cemented its status as one of the nation's leading fashion retailers. We stock some of the world's biggest brands to provide the ultimate mix of surf, skate, street, moto, active and fashion style. We push the envelope when it comes to our customers' in-store experience, with a number of our stores boasting custom-built skate ramps, live performance stages for music acts and signings, and brand concept zones. Our Christmas casuals join us during the busiest time of the year for the sole purpose of providing outstanding customer service to our customers on our sales floor. However, they may assist us in other areas like assisting in our fitting rooms, processing stock, putting stock away, assisting our visual merchandisers, and ensuring our stores are neat, tidy and shoppable. By joining City Beach as a Christmas casual, you will get an epic 20% off staff discount. You'll get the opportunity to partake in some awesome competitions and sales incentives. You'll also gain some awesome experience with one of Australia's iconic retailers. Which brings me to an important point. At City Beach, we value teamwork, motivation, individual style, creativity, attention to detail, and most of all, providing outstanding customer service. And these are the qualities we look for when recruiting a Christmas casual. Notice how the word experience does not feature. That's because as a youth retailer, we love hiring Australian youth and giving them their first job in the workforce. That's why a Christmas casual position with City Beach is the perfect place to start. So if you're keen to work with us over the Christmas period, have full availability, and are not going away for the holidays, get your application in now. I hope to see you in store soon.
Okay, I'm going to try to make sure we don't have that same technical problem before where it continued to go on. That you actually really understand what it's like. And did you find then that that meant that the type of or quality of those candidates was of a different calibre based on that? Yeah, look, absolutely, which was what we were trying to achieve. There was clarity on what was expected of the Christmas casual, that there actually was work to be done. It wasn't just about looking cool. And we started to actually introduce as well the terminology and language that we use in City Beach. There was an opportunity to understand the culture of the organisation as well, and to have a look at what a store looks like and the type of things that you'd be doing. Yeah, so I think if you had anybody that started on day one and said, this is what I was expecting, yeah, you go, if you watched the video, you definitely would have known that's exactly what you would have been expected to be asked for. Absolutely, and we didn't have that issue as well at all. Everyone understood what their role and responsibilities were from the very moment they came in for their first shift, which was awesome. Fantastic. Did you got a lot of feedback from candidates then about the experience that they went through? Look, candidates found it quite a seamless experience. They loved the fact that it was social media. And that it was visual, so they could literally see what they were required to do. So it definitely, we had high indications that it was a catalyst for them applying for jobs. So that was great. Such a competitive environment as well. being the Christmas time, then it's people or retailers.
Correct.
Gave you that competitive advantage, huh?
Look, hopefully, but yeah, I think that our timeline will be interesting to everyone to learn about, but we definitely do have a lot of competition in this space. So yeah, it definitely gave us more of a competitive edge.
Beautiful. So let's talk a little bit more then about what you did do.
Look, okay, and I thought maybe this is more in a timeline format to help the listeners, but look, reality was we had just implemented the recruitment and onboarding module at City Beach, and that actually went live in August 2015. We really spent a lot of time looking at dates and when we would start this campaign. And when we went live with our recruitment and onboarding modules, what we realised is we didn't really have a database. We didn't migrate any candidate information to Pager, so we didn't have a database. So we actually saw that as a starting point and a wonderful opportunity. So we embarked on a 4-week social media campaign through Instagram and Facebook for the sole purpose of driving traffic to our career site. We've got a fabulous new career site. And we didn't necessarily have a lot of jobs posted or being advertised at that time, but the intent was that we wanted to drive traffic to the career site, and we wanted candidates to actually register their interest for future roles at City Beach. Okay. We had great success from that campaign. So from the Instagram campaign, we had approximately 29,000 hits, and from our Facebook page, we had 32,000 hits approximately.
Pretty amazing statistics there.
Look, it was awesome, and we did it differently. We didn't do sort of the traditional type of advertising, so we made sure that we posted what would capture our demographics' attention. As an output of that campaign, we were actually able to then drive about 15,000 candidates onto our career site and to register for future roles. And the wonderful thing about PageUp is they could actually identify, they could go through a bit of a pre-screening at that time of registering, and also identify their preferred roles and locations as well, which is obviously very helpful to us.
So that's taking us into, so what did you actually achieve? So let's, I was really excited about this slide because of this one here. So, sorry to interrupt you, but I thought I should bring this up so people can actually see what you're talking to as well. So
yeah, absolutely. We had great success. So as I mentioned, the 15,000 candidates registered on our career site, which was amazing. So if you think that we ended that campaign come September, then we planned towards our Christmas recruitment commencing. Our Christmas recruitment actually kicked off the last week in October. At that time, all we did was post our vacancies on our career site. Within the first 4 hours of posting only on our career site, we had on average 15 suitable candidates for every vacancy that we had, every store that we had in the company. And that was absolutely phenomenal. And through the pre-screening, we were able to actually, you know, that 15 is not 15 people applied, it's 15 suitable candidates. So through our screening questions, we were able to actually sort through who were the most suited candidates for our casual roles. So we had 15 suitable candidates within 4 hours. Within 8 days of launching and posting on our career site, we actually had selected and hired 1,100 of those casuals. So that was 8 days after, which was just phenomenal. And what I'd say with that statistic was more extraordinary is that we didn't actually advertise anywhere else. So we didn't advertise on Seek, we didn't advertise on other sites. It was purely advertising on our career site and using some social media as well.
So that's where we came back to that at the very beginning, you know, knowing where your candidates actually are basically hanging out, and that is in that social media stream. So it's absolutely, that definitely paid off for you.
Look, absolutely, it was a huge win. You know, at the end of this process, when we tracked, when we did our post-Christmas casual review, you know, we had an 8.9%, but it was actually out of 10 was the rating, so it's not necessarily percent, but we got an 8.9 out of 10 satisfaction rating from our hiring managers, who are our store managers, on the success of this Christmas casual campaign, which is absolutely, again, phenomenal and a great result.
We're starting to think what would get a 10 from those guys, but you know.
Look, the other great, the wonderful things that came out of it, we also were able to create talent pools for future casuals because we had thousands upon thousands of people applying. We also were able to target the groups that we had not only selected but that had applied for our skill-based trainees vacancies that were available early this year as well. The reduction in cost was absolute. There was not a dollar spent on advertising. There was no additional resources required to be rostered to support this process. It was a seamless, simple experience to get this outcome. So we're all very proud of the results that we gained through this.
Yeah, so I'm sure that everybody on the line is as excited as I was around the types of statistics here to see just how taking, and you said that before about that planning piece, really think about what you need to do, what you want to achieve, make sure you've got your processes in alignment, do your timelines and such, and then this is the sort of reap the benefits at the end of that.
Look, absolutely. One thing that's not up there that really was critical to the success of this and the productivity piece was through the onboarding portal. We were actually able to film a number of, again, YouTube clips, which actually trained the Christmas casuals on the specific areas that they would be working with. They were bite-sized clips that were pushed out every 2 days, so there was in total 4. But we knew that there was generally a 2-week period from the time that they had been hired to when they were actually going to be rostered in store. And in that 2-week period, we pushed out every 2 days a YouTube clip to allow them to learn what they were required to do, become familiar again with the language and terminology, and have all their paperwork completed, etc. But on day 1, literally turn up, ready to start work.
And yeah, so that's pretty amazing that we know that, in between when somebody accepts the role and when they actually commence can be a critical period because they could get other offers if they're actually looking elsewhere and such. So you found a way to actually keep them engaged in the process by actually doing that. So we have had a question come through that I think you may have some tips for somebody around, what sorts of things were you asking the candidates that might have been a little bit different?
Yeah, look,
that's right.
But look, for us, we broke down, we sort of talked about what do we want from a Christmas casual. It's really hard because quite often these kids are at school and this is their first job. So we can't ask you would for someone that actually has experience. So we would focus on the attributes. So we want someone who's motivated. We want someone who has good timekeeping skills. We want someone who's a team player. And we very much related the questions that we asked during that screening process related to them being at school and being able to think about that experience to respond to the questions that we actually had.
Yeah. Beautiful, thank you. And I did put you on the spot. Yeah.
No problem.
That you have been so forthcoming with a lot of information today for those on the line, and some of them could be competitive, so I appreciate that. But let's have a look at what some of the learnings that you actually have taken away from this. So fantastic results, but as always, what is it that you would do the same or differently next time?
Look, I think first of all it's to ensure that you've actually aligned the campaign and the strategy to the actual culture of the organisation. So there is no point in representing as something that the business actually isn't. You'll quickly come undone. And so with that in mind, if you know what that is, you're clearly able to design all the things that you want to use in rolling something like this out. So accurately representing the people and the culture is important to drive the engagement piece, the attraction engagement piece. Helping the hiring managers. So this program, from our end, we've designed it that we're not the ones at the front place. So it's ensuring that you do invest with the hiring managers who are in part primarily our store managers. And so there was a lot of things that were put in place to help support that particular group in setting this up for success. There was a lot of training. There was videos that were being pushed out specifically to those groups. to help support them. We were on call during that period of time. Through PageUp, you can go in and you've got oversight. You can actually see from a time perspective, you can pinpoint certain stores that are having more difficulties versus others. So, you know, using that information that's available to you to make sure that you're actually supporting your hiring managers in achieving, you know, achieving the results. And again, we've got the social media aspect and how critical that was to your success in getting as many candidates. Look, absolutely, Penny, but it was dual. So it wasn't just that we were using these for our Christmas casuals. We also took the opportunity to push these out to stores because, in fact, it served as a refresher for our existing team members on what and how they should be doing. So, so it had a dual effect with pushing those YouTube clips out.
Yeah. Well, so that to me says that there's a greater return on investment than just that short-term period. Now you've got hiring managers who've got, oh, that's right, when I actually go through a recruiting process for a new team member at any time, these are the sorts of things I should be doing and looking out for.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm sure they probably return to those every now and then as well to actually have a look. So we're going to head to another poll and just ask everybody, what are you going to change about your processes and such to enable more successful volume recruitment? So hopefully today in that process. And while we do that, we might actually see if we can answer another question. Okay, so there's one here. It's quite a long question, but let me see if I can abbreviate it down and still have the person that pushed this forward happy that I've represented it appropriately. So you had 1,100 hires that completed the full tenure of their employment. Did anybody drop out?
No. So we had 100% of the candidates that were hired came in, actually worked during that period of time. At the end of that 8-week period, we had set quota for each stores of casuals that we would retain that was selected out of that Christmas casual group, and we also had a target group for our school-based trainees as well to try and promote those vacancies as well. But we had, yeah, 100% of the hires actually started and actually completed their full period. So that is phenomenal because I'm sure that, and I look back to that video and I think if I saw that and went, make sure you're not going on holidays as well, just that would potentially impact some people. So they might actually go, this is a great job, I understand what I need to do to come with the that's right in the middle. Look, and a really interesting point you raised, Penny, because that's what we gathered by talking to key stakeholders and understanding past challenges. And so we made sure that, you know, in that casual, we did focus on that. We phrased it a couple of different ways to get that point across, so that we actually didn't have any, we did not have one casual who said that they had holidays and couldn't work, because everyone was very clear on what the expectation was. Oh, fantastic. Well, let's, looks like everybody's had a chance to answer the poll, so let's close that off now and let's pop up what the response rates were like. So it looks like, so we're just getting this so we can see it as well. Things people are going to change. Top one there, automating your recruitment processes. Okay, so that's a good move. Sounds like you've let people know that it's important that having that automation in place will have huge benefits for the organisation. And I love here that people are picking up that represent your culture better, because I think that's what I really took away from the research and talking to yourself, Melanie, around this was just, this was all about, and even today when I've arrived here at your offices, how excited we were about, this is really City Beach, even your head office truly represents that, and I couldn't move away from the TV monitor showing what it is like to actually work here. So that's fantastic. It looks like some people have got some great tips there. Okay, so let's move on
and have a think about or talk to this year's campaign. What are you going to be doing there? So what have you taken away from last year? So it sounds like one of the things I get very excited about is that organisations actually learn. So can you tell us a little bit about how you've become a learning organisation in this and taken away from last year?
Yeah, look, and this is based on, understanding there's continuous improvement for everything that we do and never to become complacent. We had a lot of what we did work and it was very successful. We had some things that weren't as good as what we thought it would be. So it's actually about, we took the time to debrief, we took the time to actually break down and look at every piece of material that we had designed and rolled out for the Christmas campaign 2015. And we got the whole team together to work through that. And again, that questioning, what worked, what didn't, could we do it better, could it make it easier? Then we went ahead and worked with our stores and our regions to ask them the same questions. And then we updated materials, and now we're ready to go for Christmas 2016. We've got dates booked in, we've got updated resources, templates, advertising. It's all ready to go, which is really make life a lot easier for us. And we've got some new things that we're introducing as well.
Okay, so it's not about being complacent about this worked last year. It's about, what does the future look like and what might be.
Look, absolutely. How do we do it better?
How do you do it better? Fantastic. Okay. We have had a couple of other questions come through, so I'm just going to give you a bit of a chance to actually have a look at those. One of the questions that has come through, though, has been around the actual system, so the recruitment processes and how you've used the systems and onboarding and what that actually looks like. Sorry guys, today we weren't going to actually show you the system and how the system actually works from that perspective, but hopefully you have got some tips from Merrily in how they have utilised the system to their advantage without actually going into the detail of the actual system. If you'd like more detail on that, I'm sure your PageUp representative would be more than happy to take some time with you and show you just how our system actually can automate these processes for you, help you with gaining the benefits of automation, things like Merrily's actually been talking to us about today with the increase in productivity, the ability to increase the quality of your hire, reduce the time to hire. I'm trying to remember when we were talking, there was originally when someone would start on first day, it was most likely the first whole day would be spent unproductive at all. And what is it now about?
So yeah, on the first day there'd be 3 hours, generally spent doing paperwork, reading policies, signing off, having, starting that induction process and then moving into the training. For our Christmas casuals, that was all done prior to them actually working their first shift. And when they actually came in for their first rostered shift, look, I'd probably say half an hour, and that's more about store familiarisation, giving them the rundown of fire emergencies, fire evacuation points, introducing them to the team, and literally we had the opportunity to say, okay, we'd like you now to work on recovery or in change rooms, and they knew how to do it, and they just got on with it.
That's fantastic. And I know that there was a number of the casuals that went through this process. As you said, you put them onto your school's program and such, but they're working for you in other, in the same role, but at other times as well when you've got peaks and troughs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And once we ended the employment of the Christmas casuals we didn't keep, they're still in our database. So if we have a store in Darwin or we have a store in in WA, and a manager has vacancies, that's where we look. We've got proactive recruitment going on. We don't have to waste time advertising and interviewing. We've got those people ready to go and actually know what to do.
Yeah, well, this is absolutely fantastic. So look, we're pretty much at time now. So I always like to finish a couple of minutes early just so that everybody who has actually set a back-to-back meeting on top of this, which is most of us for today. So very big thank you, Merrily and City Beach. As I said earlier, you have been so giving of information, probably given away a few of your secrets today as well. that's fantastic. We really appreciate that, and thank you for having the journey with PageUp, because we've loved being a part of the journey and are looking forward to how this journey continues on in the future with you. So,
right.
And as I did mention earlier, if anyone does have any other inquiries or questions, please don't hesitate to take them to your account executive or your PageUp representative. We'll be more than happy to actually help you. So thank you again.
Yeah, more than welcome.
And have a great day, everybody.